Hi Aries, welcome to your September 2019 Astro Update. It's Raina here. So we start the month just like we did last month with a cluster of inner planets in one sign. This month it's going to be Virgo. We start the month with the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Virgo, and the new moon has just taken place couple days before that. So it's bringing in that fresh energy of what Virgo represents. Now, for you, because you are right in alignment with the universal chart, because the universal chart starts with Aries as well, you're going to have it in its own place, which is the 6th house. Virgo rules the 6th house of health and work and your daily routine. So Aries, I think that you're going to start September with a very sober, practical, and organized outlook. And this is going to be very good for success in any endeavor that you undertake because you're not playing around. You mean business. The Sun in the 6th house can be just general sense of well-being when it comes to your health, and also a desire to really perhaps emulate what Virgo stands for in terms of, that sense of discipline and organization, and bring that into your daily life. Mercury here is all about kind of the strategies that you employ. And for instance, if this is something health related, you may be reading up on diet and how you can eat better for health and what kind of foods you can prepare. Also, Mercury could be just having you, I don't know, like, have you ever seen those bullet journals that people create, where they decide to organize their life a month at a time, and they just take like these plain journals that don't have any lines in them, and they create these diagrams. And you can go on YouTube if you're interested, if you've never seen something like that, and they're very they seem like a lot of fun, because you're looking also at the whole person. And this to me is very important, where you're not just saying, okay, I'm going to do this at 5:30, this. We're going to say, okay, I want to cover all these different areas of life. Okay, my health, my and that includes exercise as well as diet, but also what am I going to be doing in terms of my downtime? Not just about, the things that you want to achieve that have to do with career goals or goals that are related to that. But, what time am I going to have carve out just so that I can just be, that I don't have to do anything? Or even like my spiritual life, I like to meditate. So do I have time to do this during a day and structuring it? Venus in the 6th house, Venus and Mars are going to be there at the same time. Now, the divine lovers meet up. I'm saying this in the future tense because I'm actually recording this earlier in August. So they meet up on August 20, I think it's the 24th through the 26th or something along those lines, where they're in the exact conjunction all 3 days. And in September, they're both in Virgo still at the beginning of the month. And so they have different functions. Venus in the 6th can mean harmony with coworkers, while Mars in the 6th can mean conflict with coworkers. So what does it mean when they're both there together? Well, Mars beats Venus to the punch and enters the 6th house a couple of days before Venus does in August sometime. But that's not really that much difference. It's just a couple of days. I think that what's going on is that maybe you're working really hard and you're making more money because of it. Because Venus can be, you know, the cha-ching. And Mars is the effort that you're putting into it. And also the burning desire for something. On the 14th, we have a busy day because we have a full moon at 21 degrees of Pisces. This is your 12th house, Aries. This is very psychic because the 12th house is the spiritual dimension as well as that's why it's also the dream. It's connected to dreams. It's a dream world. So full moons can be times of great intuition, and maybe you're connecting with something. You might have a vivid dream that is even connected to that 6th house that has to do with work, maybe some type of, it might have like a practical side to it, because one thing to remind you is that when there's a full moon, the sun is in opposition to it. So the sun is at the exact same degree in the 6th house while this full moon is happening in the 12th. And so it might be giving you some kind of like psychic thoughts on how to be more productive, how to, do things better. Who knows? I mean, taking this very impractical place and being able to make your life more practical. On the same day, Mercury and Venus go into your 7th house. Now, Venus rules the 7th house. Venus rules 2 houses, the 2nd and the 7th, and the 7th house is under the sign of Libra. And this is the house of committed partnerships. So we're starting to see these planets go into Libra, which is your opposite sign, Aries. And this means that the emphasis is going to be on, if this is like work related, this could be on your clients one-on-one. So with Mercury there, you may be getting the word out to them through perhaps newsletters or something where you're able to connect with people one-on-one. And Venus, or using the internet, for instance, using some form of communication to reach your clients. Venus in this house can be very good for committed partnerships. Maybe you're planning a wedding. Actually, Mercury in the 7th house can be contracts, so perhaps you're getting the marriage license. On the 18th, we have Saturn going direct in Capricorn, so that's your 10th house. I see like for Aries, this is a really good work month for you because Saturn, having been retrograde in the 10th, may have meant that you abandoned some sort of, I don't know if it would be like something that you were trying to accomplish, establish career-wise, that you might not have followed up with. Maybe you were really trying to accomplish something. You're working hard at something in your career, and you just kind of like slacked off a little bit. I think that sometimes it's hard to maintain that type of, I don't know, what would you call it, enthusiasm or intensity, level of intensity, if you don't see the results. Now, especially for an Aries, my sun is in Sagittarius. So fire signs are very enthusiastic, but Leo is the one fire sign that can sustain that effort because they're a fixed sign. But for you, you might get very easily, it's not so much, I don't know if it's discouraged, you just might get bored if you don't see immediate results. So perhaps you kind of slacked off of something and then now realize that you have to apply the effort and that you have to have the discipline to be able to do that. That's what Saturn in the 10th house can give you, because actually Saturn rules the 10th house. So it's all about career matters to begin with. And when you have it direct, it's like having this coach, or maybe, what do they call those things? Like a personal trainer for your business. They don't have like, I guess it would just be like a consultant. But I'm thinking about somebody that's very actively, pushing you to keep going and that sort of thing. So I think that you're going to start to really make progress because you have all of this other energy starting the month in a very strong way in that 6th house. On the 14th, we have a full moon at 21 degrees of Pisces. On the 23rd, we have the sun going into Libra. This is the time of the equinox, power period. This is your opposite sign, opposite house, 7th house of committed partnership. So, Aries, I don't know how many of you are in that mode of marriage, commitment, maybe planning a wedding, as I stated earlier, but this could be a continuation of that. We have just this sense of the other, where you are concerned with your partner. Remember that you rule the 1st house of the self. And this is why sometimes Aries people get accused of being self-absorbed, because that's what your house represents. The self is a thing. We all have ourselves, and we all have to honor the self. And when you can achieve balance, which is what Libra is all about, interestingly enough, then you can also be aware that other people have needs as well, and you can try to honor their needs. So this is a great time for that sort of balance. On the 28th, a new moon in that, at 5 degrees of Libra, in that committed partnership sector. So if you're planning a wedding, maybe it should be on the new moon, right? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. And by the way, I realize that not all people have to be married to be coupled. You may decide that you're going to live together, and you're planning that out. Who's going to move to whose place, or are you going to move to a third neutral location? Are we going to use your furniture or my furniture, or a combination thereof, and all that jazz? But this can be like a time, if it is like a marriage situation of maybe you are signing that contract, that marriage contract, and it's really the first stage of the first step of the rest of your lives together. So it becomes like a romantic period towards the end of the month, with the emphasis now in the 7th house. Okay, Aries, that's what I have for you. If you'd like a personal reading, the link to my website is below. It is rainandmoonastrology.com. Take care. Bye.